Thank you very much for the introduction and for the opportunity to speak here. Today, similar to Professor Charpentier, I would like to address the topic insurance in the age of AI from two angles. These two angles are based on the two recently published Geneva Association reports. On the left-hand side, what we look is the generative AI risk when business and industry using it. Right? This is AI-generated new risks and amplify of existing risk. And on the right-hand side, we look when insurance companies deploy AI to interact with our customers and how customers feel about this AI of being used by the insurance companies. So if you're interested in those reports, you could scan the code or click the link and you could download them. Just one word about the Geneva Association. We are industry association of 90 global insurance companies. A little bit introduce about the difference between generative AI and traditional AI. For most of us who are sitting in this room, AI is just a 3.5-year-old. Right? It started in October, November 2022, and then until today. And before that, most of us wouldn't consider AI in our daily life or daily work. But then that's before the, after that, then we have ChatGPT, OpenAI, DeepSeek, among many other tools. Then we have the era of generative AI. So this is different from the traditional AI, as I highlighted. It's traditional AI mostly used for predictions, but also many other functions, of course. And generative AI is different. Depending on how you define it, the output can be considered as original artifacts. There are two forms of generative AI used by insurance companies or used by our insurance customers. On the left-hand side, it's insurer-provided AI. I'm an insurance company, Samsung, for example, and then I developed a tool, for example, a chatbot, and then this chatbot talk to customers. That's one type of AI, insurer-provided AI. And on the right-hand side, it's so-called off-the-shelf tools, including ChatGPT, Copilot, DeepSeek, and so on. So customers might independently use those off-the-shelf tools to discuss insurance questions, to ask insurance questions, to compare insurance terms, even before they approach insurance company. So here is a quick summary of the impact of generative AI across the insurance customer journey. The first row, we show that assessment of existing digital technologies, including internet, mobile, smartphone, social media, and so on. And then the second row, we show that additional impact of generative AI on top of the existing digital technologies. What we believe is that this generative AI is more important, will have a higher impact in the area of gathering information, seeking advice. So when I ask my students in my class, so many of them would consider to ask generative AI first before they approach an insurance company. They ask, which insurance company should I go to? And it's similar question, which bank should I go to? Similar like when we consider a holiday, which city and which country we should go and what time we spend there. So this type of information gathering and the seeking advice function of generative AI is particularly important. They could also, when they get quotation from the insurance company, two quotations, one from Samsung, the other from Tokio Marine, and then they upload them all together and then ask GPT's advice. Which product is better, is more fit to me? So that's acting as a broker role of this with this generative AI. And also, On the other steps or stages of the insurance value chain, we have also some impact, for example, on the after-sales service. You could interact with an AI instead of human, and also in the claim process, making it more efficient. Here is a overview of our sample. We did customer survey of 1,000 customers in each of the 6 largest insurance company. Next time, I promise to include Korea as well. So this time, we did the 6 largest markets, China, Japan, that's in Asia, UK, France, Germany, that's in Europe, and the United States. So we have total 6,000 customers. Those people must have purchased insurance in the past 3 years, so they qualify for an insurance customer. They also need understand what generative AI is. So we have some basic testing question so that they know what we're talking about. So more or less half male and female, and equal distribution across the age range. Here are some quick summary of what we have learned from this survey. Many of them actually echo Professor Charpenter's statements just now. So whether they are aware of insurance company are using AI to serve them, they do. 45% noticed chatbots. That's the most prevailing function of AI use that customer feel. Also, they feel some of the documents offered to them are automatically generated by generative AI, like insurance policies or insurance quotes. 32% aware of that. And then I move on, how they feel about this generative AI interaction. These 2 questions are the same. We just use different form to ask the same question. How do you feel about your insurer using generative AI to interact with you? It's interesting to see that the pink and the red are the more or less in favor of using AI. So I like it. I'm okay with it as long as it provides this comparable service to human interactions. And it's important to know that 12% explicitly saying that I do not like it. Similar pattern on the right-hand side. How do you feel the experience when insurance company using AI? Also the pink and red is the majority saying that they made my experience easier, somewhat helpful, but there are 9% saying that they make my experience more complicated and less personal. So we can see from this picture that our customer has a surprisingly high acceptance or welcome attitude to insurance company using AI to interact with them. This we show a bit the country difference. That's an important slide. That's why I put it in this place. We can see the Asian markets exhibit significantly higher enthusiasm compared to Western skepticism. So China and Japan have a particularly higher percentage saying that I like AI and I'm okay with it. Well, if we look at Europe, then that's significantly less. And also, what type of services AI should do, what they should not do. So these charts saying that compare different services that AI provided. The most useful function, or the customer prefer mostly, is comparing quotes and terms, because insurance quotes and terms are difficult to understand. In the past, they might have to consult a friend. I receive a lot of calls from my classmates and colleagues saying that, can you help me to look at whether this insurance makes sense or not? Now they don't come to me. They go to ChatGPT, which offer a better answer than I do sometimes. So they demand comparing quotes and terms of different products and services. And they also demand claim handling, welcome. But if we look at the last item, where the red bar is higher than the pink bar, which means that customer in general would like to see less targeted advertising. So they don't want generative AI to push message to my cell phone selling insurance. So that's what they don't want. What are the top customer priority? That's exactly what Chapinta just said. It's trust. Insurance is all about trust. They concern about data security, accuracy of information, access to human support, and transparency. And those we think that generative AI are particularly strong with, for example, ease of use, cost effectiveness, speed of response, that's relatively less important. So the actual efficiency function of generative AI is not yet the customer's top priority. Their priorities are on the trust side. So security, accuracy, access to human support. This number is maybe a little bit inflated, I would say. But the country comparison also gave us some information. So all the previous slides, I was talking about insurance company provide AI tools. And this one is ChatGPT or DeepSeek, this independent use of third-party or off-the-shelf tools. How many respondents have said that they have used such tools when purchasing insurance? 68% globally. Maybe this is overall inflated, but we can still see the country difference. Asian countries are particularly high than continental Europe. This is also very consistent with my feeling. So when I talk to my Geneva Association colleagues in Zurich office, I asked them, do you use AI when you buy insurance? They said, of course not. Who gonna use that? But when I ask my colleagues in Beijing University, I will check. Yeah, so that's a different attitude, and we observe, and we consistently observe this culture difference in later parts of the reports, and you will see more that Asian perform very different to continental Europe, where the English-speaking countries are usually in the middle. So what this independent use of generative AI can change the insurance market. If you're an insurance company, think about your customer are educated before they come. In the past, they know very little about insurance, and insurance sales, we call it consultative sales. We educate the customer and then selling our products. But now this landscape might change. Your customer might be very well prepared when come to an insurance agency. That's why the insurance company also need to equip, train the insurance agency to catch up with this customer change. And how to do that is probably also need to equip your agencies with also AI tools that enable them to do better communication, to more understandable, more convincing than a ChatGPT. What are the customer concerns? The top concern is lack of human touch, privacy and security, and accuracy. These three are exactly the same as the priority question that we asked. We always want, when AI cannot solve the problem, I can push a button or I say, find me a human agent. That should be always available. Hallucination, Professor Chapinta also mentioned. That's an important issue related to accuracy and consistency of AI answers. Some potential solutions. So now I move to the second part of the study, which will look at what kind of risk that AI generated for society and how insurance might or might not be able to address those risks. This chart basically echoes what Chapinta have said. It's only in the recent years there was a sharp increase of the use of generative AI. And these are the what specific risk category identified for generative AI. These are two types of risk that we believe most of these already exist in the past with existing technologies. And generative AI just amplified a little bit. But there are also some new risks that AI generated. For example, the workforce challenge also require AI skill, and also this might be a risk of job displacement. So these are the new risks that AI generated, but many others are just amplifying existing risk. And importantly, there are two different types. One is first-party operational risk. My company use AI, there's operational risk, systemic failure, and so on and so forth. Hacks and cyber and so on. And there are also third-party product risk, where I use AI to generate answers to my customers, doctor generate advice to their patients, and there might be a liability risk. That's a product risk. How firms use generative AI? For what purpose have you used them? That's very interesting. So all firms like already generating internal business reports or summaries. When you write a summary that I feel difficult or it's important to your boss, so you use generative AI to polish it or to generate the first draft. And then second is a customized proposal to your customers. The implementation challenge. These I find particularly interesting. So this also show a very strike difference between countries. So let's look at the top one, limited availability of skilled generative AI professionals. That basically means I don't know how to use AI. I want skills and talented people to use them. Let's also notice the number 5, resistance from colleagues, employees, or customers. That means I don't want to use AI, right? I resist. I don't like it. I don't want it. And in Asian countries and English-speaking countries, the top one, the limited availability is the most important challenge. It's a prevailing challenge. And in Germany and France, unfortunately, resistance from colleagues and employees and the customers are the top ones. We see the strike difference between countries, reflecting a culture difference where digital tolerance culture. And what type of failures have you experienced? These are the corporates, so the industry corporates. We survey 100 business in each of the 6 markets. Inaccurate information generated, that's very AI specific. So that also basically preventing companies further using of AI. So it's not accurate. But I would have to say that human generated information or human information is also not accurate, right? But also we have higher expectation for generative AI. So that does not mean AI make more mistakes than human, but we just have a higher expectation. And the second one is the same for every digital technology, where you have a legacy system of 10 years, 20 years old, but you need a new technology to be integrated with them. There's always difficulties. For any technology, the second item, it's challenging. Do businesses have demand for Gen AI insurance? Or what kind of risk that the business want to transfer to insurers? That are cybersecurity. We can also see that's why cyber insurance is the top product that consider to be extended to incorporate AI coverage. And then the second is liability. So the operational risk and then liability risk. I skipped this. This one is important. This basically shows that the demand is not only for free coverage. So you offer me a free AI coverage, I'm happy. But actually our customers among all the countries are willing to pay a little. They're willing to pay mostly 10 to 20% of my organization's current insurance cost to extend the coverage to AI risk. This insurability, Professor Carpenter already discussed. We see some challenges, but I also see this supply side of AI risk. It's mirroring the early evolution of cyber insurance. It's like cyber insurance in 10 years ago. So in 10 years, this become a mature product. And this last page, I highlight some of the existing solutions already available in the market. Basically, there are 3 different attitudes towards AI insurance. Some company, that's the typical one, they set endorsement extension of existing products like cyber insurance professional liability directly officers. And some have a total exclusion. More and more companies are having that, so-called total AI exclusion. We have seen some companies are doing that. And interestingly, also some companies in Asia, in China, they develop standalone AI coverage. It's a comprehensive bundle of AI coverage of first-party and third-party risks. So they develop an AI insurance. That's all my information. Thank you very much. I'm looking forward to the discussion later. Thank you.